Lesson about voicing tonight. Several different takeaways about how to think about voicing and how to memorize these chord voicings. So the first one is that E, A, and D are a voicing group, and they're all voiced the same way. And what that means is they start with a perfect fifth, 1-5, followed by a sweet triad, 1-3-5, 1-3-5, then followed by a double or tripled octave. So it's 1-5, that's dependable, 1-3-5, in the case of E form 1. So that goes for every E form chord you've ever played, 1-5, 1-3-5, 1. A is the same, just fewer notes. So if you were to get all 5 notes, power chord in the bass, sweet triad on top, which we think about as this triad. So it's power chord, triad. So 1-5, 1-3-5. D shape is the same, but nobody ever plays this as a bar chord because it's such a pain in the ass, but it's 1-5, 1-3. It's just a reduction of it, just like an open D. 1-5, 1-3. Okay? So those all have a heavier sound because they have doubled fifths, or at least the E and the A do, but they all start with a perfect fifth, and that's crucial. Whereas G, C, and F, it's much more obvious that they're the same shape. The B string interferes less. They're triadic. 1-3-5, 1-3 octave. C, 1-3-5, 1-3. F, 1-3-5, 1. Because of that, it's hard to make them minor because they have 2/3, or the G and the C do. Similarly, it's hard to make the first group diminished or augmented because they have 2/5. But they sound thicker because of those fifths, whereas the group, the GCF group, sounds thinner is not the right word. It sounds sweeter, it's softer, because they all start with thirds. First thing you hear is that, and there's nowhere that it's organized as a perfect fifth with adjacent strings. Okay, so you can take that into your voicing work and use it forever. So next thought is we took some progressions that are standard and we worked them in different keys. So taking a C major 7, and then sharpening the root, so it's a C sharp diminished 7, then which takes you to 2, which is a minor 7, and that takes you to 5, which is a dominant 7. And let's just say dominant 7 for now. We know it's the default 7, but you want to get that ingrained in your mind. So you have 1, sharp 1, diminished 7, 2, let's repeat that in D. This is sort of the till there was you progression. But this is as old as dirt. It's all over the standard world and also the pop world. Okay, and that's based on the C major, by which we know the voicing 1-5-1. So that 1 drops down to a 7. So we want to be able to do major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7 really confidently. Okay, so now let's move that to the E string, or the E form. So major, we discussed how the major 7 is this wicked fingering nobody uses that often. So we use a jazz voicing. It's very comfortable. Major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7. So that little chord breakdown on the E form and A form is crucial. Then you can do the same progression on E form. So you can do G major 7, G sharp diminished 7, A minor 7, that's your 2, and then you can do a D9 to kind of spice it up when you get there. So 1, sharp 1 leading to 2, and then 5. A, B, you asked about this 9th chord. 1, 3, 7, 9. That's because if you use this as your backdrop, that's a 3rd up there. And then, well, it's confusing. You drop it. You can think about that as a 10th instead of a 3rd. It becomes a 9th when you lower it. It's easier to think about this going up from 8 to 9. Okay, and then we also talked a little bit about Time, that song by Pink Floyd. And because it uses this chord a lot. So it's really just a romp in F sharp. A rock song, and then it becomes a jazz song. Tired of lying in the sunshine, staying home to watch the rain So he's just pairing the D major 7 and the A major 7. So it's a perfect way to work on that progression. Then he goes down a chain of 7th chords. And then one day you find minor 7. 10 years of God, minor 7. Behind you, no one told you when. E major. You missed the starting gun. Whatever the hell the solo is. Okay, what else did we cover? Probably a lot of other little things. But if you think of something, just let me know, and I can add it to a subsequent video. I'm trying to think if there's anything you needed to clarify in those charts. We'll talk next time. See you, brother.